Thanks, Jim, and I couldn't agree more with what's here. The pizza is dynamite. Been here numerous times, so it's great to see this open and vibrant, and another great piece of our growing downtown. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Got a chance to walk around with the Secretary, see some of the support that both the state and the city have given to some number of businesses during this really crazy time. But I'm really happy to be here with the Secretary and his team. We've really worked well together. And
we sure have.
As we said earlier, Secretary, it's great to be in person and be together.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Without that, I know this is great to have you here, and I want to hear what you have to say.
All right.
Really, welcome to Lynn.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to be back with you in person again. Great to see the Senator, Representative. Really nice to see everybody. It is so wonderful to get back out in our communities to meet with our small businesses, hear what's going on in our downtowns. And I will say, as an administration, we've tried to be as supportive as we can during this very, very difficult period of time. Whereas Larry Andrews from Mass Growth Capital ran the largest state small business relief grant program in the country. I think it was enormously helpful for a lot of our companies to get through this period of time. Obviously, those grants happen in close collaboration with a lot of key community partners. Thank you very much, and Francis and team. And I think it was really helpful to get us through the other side. We have helped to execute small business technical assistance programs really at record levels for our state. I think in turn those programs help people access federal funds, substantial federal capital that came into Massachusetts from the Paycheck Protection Program and other programs. We've got new programs coming out now to help our small businesses do more online digital marketing and other services. We've got crowdfunding programs coming as well. So we're going to keep the assistance coming. And by the way, along the way, we funded these shared streets and spaces grants, so we have more outdoor space for dining and commerce. We've helped to market our small businesses, our Let's Go Out campaign. Hopefully folks have seen that. It's to promote our restaurants that followed our My Local campaign, to really get people to think about supporting their downtown and their Main Street businesses. So before they buy something online, think about that Main Street shop or that tourist destination or a restaurant to go and spend time and money there. So, and we recognize as well that, small businesses make up the fabric of great communities. We have to keep investing in our communities and our downtowns. And so we continue to be a very active partner with the mayor and all of our municipal leaders on how do we build up more infrastructure in our downtowns? How do we support more housing? Lynn's done a fabulous job with housing. We need a lot more housing across the state. How do we continue to grow our workforce? So there's a lot going on in our world. And so this summer we're going to hit 25 downtowns over 7 weeks. I don't know, we'll probably meet 100 businesses or so and hear what's happening on the ground. It's going to be enormously helpful for us as we think and plan coming out of the pandemic. We have, the state has received $5.3 billion in funds from the federal government through the ARPA legislation. And we have a proposal now before the legislature to spend $2.9 billion of that on things that we think are urgent. And so it's $1 billion on housing, it's $240 million on workforce. But important for this discussion, it's $350 million on downtown investments. So how do we support what's happening? I always say, if you want to understand where the economic damage from the pandemic happened, look on Main Street, look in our downtowns. How do we continue to support our downtowns with more capital, more programs, more community partnerships, more assistance for our small businesses? And so a big part of the agenda for today and all the stops on the tour is to listen and learn and figure out what else we can do to be the best, most supportive, most engaged partner we can be as an administration. So it is wonderful to see you all today. And I'd love to hear from the business owners about what's on their minds, and maybe I'll ask the members of my team to quickly introduce themselves to start with. Ashley.
Hi, I'm Ashley Stolben, I'm Undersecretary of Community Development.
And Mark Fuller, Undersecretary for Business Growth, the yang to Ashley's yang.
Larry,
Yes, Larry Andrews, President of Mass Growth Capital Corporation. And I actually was part of this transaction when Joe looked at this and had a real vision for it. So prior to public service in the banking. So great to be here.
there you go. Very cool.
Great, and I'm Sam Asker, I'm on the Secretary's Policy team.
And good morning, Teresa Park. I'm the Deputy Director for Mass Development.
As you can see, economic development's a team sport around here. You got the senior team here. Mass Growth and Mass Development have been incredible collaborators with us and partners with us on a lot of things. So maybe just go around the table, do quick intros. I'd love to hear what's on people's minds.
Hello everyone, I'm Frances Martinez. I'm right next door, North Shore Latino Business Association, and I'm very happy, Secretary, they're here today. It's very important to have that support, and also for our small businesses to see that everyone is working in collaboration and be able to support one another and make our economy strong, even we're going through this. So that was my introduction. That's it. I'm more.
So I'm Michael Lacerdo, founder of Incubate Co-working here in Lynn on Washington Street. The space actually was launched during the pandemic, in part with the collaborative workspace funding from Mass Development. So thank you guys very much for helping keep that off the road.
Tia Cole with Creative Collective. We are a small business support program that also works with people in the cities and economic development.
Jim Cardell, I'm the director of EDIC. Secretary, I think I had mentioned to you through Mass Capital Growth, Lynn received a little bit over $6 million that went out to the business community in grants. And in total, Jamie Marsh is here from Community Development. We received over $2 million in federal funds for Lynn businesses. So in grant money through COVID, to get us through COVID, the city of Lynn invested $9 million, and that was the partnership with the state. So thank you.
Colin Cotner, Greater Lynn Chamber of Commerce, really focused on supporting business through educational programming, teaching businesses how to be better businesses, as well as advocacy, marketing, networking.
Hi everybody, my name is Sarah Bailey. I'm a co-owner of Soul City Yoga, and actually Soul City was one of the recipients of the grants from Mass Growth Capital, and really did help to keep us alive, through the shutdown and while we were not able to have our studio open. So thank you for that.
Hi everyone, my name is Chanel Anderson. I am the founder and co-owner of Soul City Yoga, the first yoga studio in our city, propelled by belief and support by folks like all of you. So thank you.
I'm Josh Judkins. I'm the chair of the board for Lynn Main Streets. And Lynn Main Streets is a Main Streets organization focused on support and revitalization of downtown Lynn, particularly the small businesses located here, and just making it a destination for people that live here and visit here to live, work, and play. Thank you so much for all of your focus on our region, but especially in Lynn. It really means a lot.
My name is Nelsie Suarez. I'm co-founder of Aroma Laundry Inc. We are a pickup and delivery laundry dry cleaning service. We started our journey last year. We saw the opportunity to become business owners, my husband and I. And not only for that, but we saw the opportunity to help our community, and thankfully with working a year in August.
So she goes all the way to Boston.
Yes.
Right? So,
Senator,
Hey, trust me, I was trying to sneak out. It's an honor to have you. Brendan Crichton, the state senator from this area. Had a chance to work with all of you, the businesses, as well as the city for so many years, but it's been a joy, Mr. Secretary, working as the housing chair, and then throughout the pandemic, your team has been fabulous. So thank you for the partnership.
You got it.
Calling me out as I'm leaving. So.
Great to see you. All right.
We practiced the Irish goodbye in my family. I'm Carolyn Cole. I used to oversee the downtown Lynn Cultural District under the Office of Community Development. I'm here as a co-founder and vice chair for Lynn Main Streets. We also launched at the height of everything last year, but we're able to define ourselves as a true community resource the way they needed us to be. So we were able to partner on Mass Growth Capital Corporation grants. We were able to partner with the city on a shared streets program grant. We were able to work with Mass Development on Resurgent Places grant. So to say that we're grateful to be a part of the support of infrastructure in the city over the past year because of all of you is a vast understatement. So thank you.
Great. Let's open it up. What's on people's minds? What are the things that we should be aware of now in terms of how we can support our small businesses and our towns? Anybody?
I'll start. I'm the kind of person that is that does the work one-on-one with small businesses in the area. And one of the things is that I think that we have to put a lot into helping small businesses, those that have the language barrier, but they're still doing business. They still collaborating and putting that effort into helping every city. We are facing a huge problem, and it is the new norm of doing business. online, getting everything online. And that is something that I think we need to put a lot of attention to it, because people have the fear that they really not going to be able to do business online, or to be able to connect with anyone, or to be able to get that effort. So I see it every day in the association. When we have meetings, we have a very good attendance. We have the presence of the small businesses. But now doing virtual meetings, the percentage is pretty small, just because people do not know how to go to that next step, where it is to connect via online. So I think it's just to want to call it out. We have to put a lot of attention to that, because if not, then we are going to be missing. And people are going to start closing their business because they're not going to be able to lounge into that new norm. The other, I want to take again the opportunity to say thank you so much, especially the local team. Since the pandemic started, and before, but since the pandemic started, we reach out, and they were able to identify us as that first step to be able to communicate with a small minority business. Right now, the association is considered to be the largest minority of business association in the North Shore, and we feel very proud of that, because we are able not to only say we want to open businesses, but we want businesses to stay in business, and to also to be able to say, okay, there is an opportunity. It's not only for one group, but for everyone. So we are very grateful. Working with MGCC has been it's been a blessing for us, because the communication, everyone is available. When it comes to the grant, we were able to identify also a team of technical assistants to make sure that everybody was able to reach out to those grants and to get some support. So I'm very grateful. Thank you so much, not only for the city of Lynn, but for the North Shore, because we also work in other cities.
That's
so
great.
Thank you so much. Thank
It's
you,
really
everyone.
important work. So back in December, I was on the phone with the governor, and the governor said, "I think I want to give Larry about $700 million to give the small grant of the small businesses." And we knew we wanted to focus on minority-owned and women-owned businesses and businesses in gateway cities. And the only way to actually get the money out that way is to work with partners. And so Larry and his team had an incredibly focused effort working with partners all across the state to make that happen. So thank you.
Secretary, 80% of the grant money that was given out went to minority-owned businesses.
Correct.
80%.
If I could just call out Frances, that not only did she work with businesses, but she was literally on YouTube or Facebook and reaching out to the Latino community on health issues. So this was not only business, but really caring for the community, and it was very present.
It's been a pleasure, and I will continue doing that, because that's the only way we will make a difference.
Well, I was going to say, as bad as the last 16 months have been, we all have learned to work together in different ways, and these partnerships are stronger than ever. So let's keep that going, right? Hopefully, in much better economic times, but the partnerships and the relationships are there. You want to spend a minute on Empower Digital?
Sure. So we actually rolled out, and this is through the legislature and through the administration, Empower Digital, which is up to $5,000 for anything digital. So basically anything that will make your presence either social media, website, cameras, basically taking a digital assessment of your business and then getting up to $5,000 for whatever need that may be. And we're working also to make sure that this is available in Spanish. And so that's something that we did the first month of this, and it's going to be ramping up as we move forward. So that's $5,000, and then Empower Biz Empower, which is up to $20,000, and that's a crowdsourcing with Patronicity. That is going to be, it already is, it's going to be supported in Spanish as well. So you're going to be able to crowdsource in Spanish. So those are things that, at least for now, will meet some of those needs as we move forward. And we're pretty excited about those, and those are ramping up now.
Yeah, and as part of the proposal on the federal funds as well, the governor's proposed $100 million million for investments in broadband. And as a state, as an administration, we've had to focus on building out the areas that were unserved by broadband, but also we recognize there's gaps. There's gaps in service, there's gaps in accessibility of devices and ability to afford service, there's gaps in digital literacy. It's a comprehensive program to make sure everybody can be online. Because obviously we saw how important that is from an education standpoint, from a commerce standpoint. So that also is going to be part of it, also is part of it.
If I could just piggyback on the conversation about the minority business growth and the support that is needed. As we talk about how the city is changing and how many incredible opportunities are coming into the city, and as a two-time commercial tenant, there is a great opportunity with developers and builders to work with the retail space to invite or make it possible for the smaller businesses to have an opportunity to move into those ground level storefront opportunities. It is an enormous cost to build out a space like what we just saw downtown, and without support and resources, it's nearly impossible to take that leap from your downtown Main Street brick and mortar with a rent that may be a few $1,000s to jumping to a retail situation where you're in the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000s per month. I think that maybe beefing up tenant improvement funds or the conversation around how leases are constructed for startups to give them more of a head start and to make it a better incentive for the builders to offer those spaces to smaller businesses. I think it's an incredible opportunity to integrate the existing businesses without and alleviate that anxiety of being outsourced. We joked about my aggressiveness in the beginning, but it really was driven by the fact that I knew that I would not survive if we had a core power come here, let's say, or a corporate yoga entity, or some other business who had a longer head start at wheeling and dealing in these commercial settings.
Yeah. It's an interesting point. We've heard, as we travel the state, we've heard some concern about small businesses being displaced from downtowns. Western Mass has got a different concern, which is our vacant buildings. And so we're really trying to figure out, what the needs are the needs and opportunities of different part of the region, for sure. But that's an important point. We want our small, locally owned businesses in our downtowns. We want a mix, for sure.
Right.
But it's a really important point.
I think, go ahead.
So Michael Lucerdo again from Big Co-work.
Yeah.
So again, thank you guys for the Mass Development folks to get the co-working space up and running. I wanted to piggyback off of what was already mentioned in saying that, like, I'm dealing with early stage entrepreneurs or people who have given up their sort of corporate job, or they were downsized and lost their job and decided during the pandemic, I'm going to learn a new skill and launch my business, which is great to try and get them involved in all the changes that are down here.
Yeah.
But Lynn is a city of renters, so there's a severe capital and collateral to get deficit to get their businesses off the ground. And so there's training that we can do in places like the co-working spaces that the chamber can do, all these different entities can help with the training piece. There is that gap of getting that initial funding off the ground so that you can have something genuine from this community, be part of the commercial spaces that are out here. So I don't know if there's some type of program that could be utilized to just get those things off the ground and running, because there's a lot of great ideas and a lot of spirit.
Yeah.
But it's just a funding gap, and many times to just get it up and off the ground.
Is it startup capital for operations or build out?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is just trying to find enough capital to get it up and going. If it's a build-out cost, if it's a rental discount, similar to some of the other things some of the other grant programs that are matching. Maybe some of the landlords are willing to discount rent if someone could put up some money for a build-out or something like that could be supported by the state. But really, I mean, the conglomeration of co-working spaces that I'm working on now is trying to branch out to some of the other local communities where there are venture capitalists who can look at the people within the co-working area and say, oh, a venture capitalist from Hamilton, I want to support this entrepreneur that's in Lynn, right?
Yeah.
But I can only do that so many times on an individual level versus like some type of state-sponsored program.
And some of that is also an opportunity to tap into some co-working spaces. And not just the co-working office, but the co-working manufacturing environment. Whether that be a shared food space, a shared high-end manufacturing space. I mean, a top-end 3D printer costs how much? If you have a business that wants to start in some type of a high-end manufacturing concept, it's almost impossible to get that level of buy-in, because no one's going to fund it. But if you are only making 30 or 50 pieces a week, whatever it may be, you only need it for 5 hours. I mean, to buy a high-end 3D printer, as an example, or a CNC machine or something like that, it's just an insurmountable cost to get started. So looking at some of these higher-end shared workspaces, these are high-paying jobs. These are great trainable sources to bring higher-paying jobs into downtowns. And this isn't giant manufacturing. This is, and you can turn a space this size into a medical device manufacturing place. So these are smaller entities that you can get going and get started if we have some of those startup spaces that can work with those smaller communities to get localized access to some of this capital equipment.
You know, I think we got to focus on how do we, on a lot of, how do we support the entrepreneur coming out of this, right? There's a lot of people, courageous people want to start their companies, to open up education. And we've been active now with this collaborative workspaces program for a while with mass development. We just did a deal with called Commonwealth Kitchen. Awesome, helping them buy their headquarters, shared workspace for food business. But it's a really important.
Yeah, and there's I can send you, it's a study that shows about 2 to 3% of entrepreneurs really make it past year 3. That's about what your success rate is. Generally speaking, you're not going to add additional entrepreneurs into a pool. But what you can do is change that success rate by reducing that capital, by increasing the resources available to them. And you turn that 3% success into a 6% success rate. I mean, that's 100% return on investment. I mean, this is easy stuff that a lot of those people just don't make it at the end for whatever reason. If we can help those little margins, we can see a tremendous return from a business and entrepreneurial success there.
Hi, my name is Gordon Hall, and I have 2 hats on today. One, chair of the Lynn Business Partnership, business organization whose mission is to help and increase the overall quality of life and economic vitality of the city. And then I'm also an owner and operator of real estate of all kinds, most of which is here in Lynn, and our office is downtown. We got to see how important the grant funds that came through the state through EDIC were to some of our tenants working. Some of our folks were also worked with Francis. It really, I think we also waived base rent for a period of time last summer, and that coupled with the grant money that came down, meant people didn't give up and lock the door and leave. All of our tenants that were there prior to the pandemic are still there, which is great. I think for our downtown, I put my hat on more now as chair of the partnership. We've wanted for a long time to have a state agency located in downtown Lynn because we need more bodies down here during the day, and that would be a really vital thing. I mean, Chelsea got the FBI, I know that's the feds, but that was a big employer, and it's the kind of thing that would really, I think, launch a more vibrant downtown during the day. Coupled with that is, I know that there's still, I think, a plan to have the commuter rail as a pilot program for lower cost and increased frequency. That is game changing for us down here. It is, I can't understate how vital having something that replicates more like rapid transit available to Lynn folks in both directions, particularly because there are 249 units across the street from the commuter rail, another 150 going out nearby, and another 330 on the waterfront. It really is vital. So just pitch that. I know it should be one step towards electrification, but it's an important step.
Jordan, if I could just thank Larry, and I don't know if you remember me, but Essex Bank and Provident Bank. The other thing about Gordon is he is really into green, right? Your buildings and your property.
Well, that may be my brother who's doing a big net zero energy project in Newbury.
But that's, you know, the whole family is a long time property owner of a new father, and I think he's done really well with taking care of your tenants. So thank you for making that happen.
Just a quick follow-up on that. I just couldn't help but say regional rail electrification. You know, 1,000 probably units new when the Central Square unit gets done, and much more on the waterfront. The opportunity, and I know the study came out in terms of what business is going to look like in the future. But I have 23-year-old twins that want to be out and about, and you know, rail and transit is the way to go. And with all of the development happening here, we walk through the building. Cars aren't the answer, transit is, and I think both of your points well taken.
It's a good point. No, I appreciate it. We've got a big focus on transit-oriented development now. It's going to be a big part of our housing strategy. We got more money in the economic development goal for that. As part of the proposal in the federal funds is $1 billion proposed for new housing. We've been in the middle of a housing crisis now in Massachusetts for a generation. We've got to build a lot more housing, hopefully near public transit. So it's a really good point. Yeah.
I just want to provide the perspective that you know, our downtown is very close to the ocean, and as we develop our waterfront, I think there are significant concerns about climate resiliency. And I know the topic of today really is our rapid recovery from COVID, but as we look forward, you know, we really need to start thinking about how we can remain resilient in the face of rising oceans, in the face of severe storms. You know, since I've lived here in Lynn and since 2017, we've had 2 quarter-century storms that have flooded the downtown. You know, so these are important questions for our businesses. And then just a second perspective, my day job is a rep with Thermo Fisher Scientific. And I work in the Bioinnovation Core in Cambridge. And there is a tremendous amount of economic vitality and capital that industry injects into Cambridge. And to see that reallocated in a way to the North Shore and Lynn as the Bioinnovation Center would be remarkable for our businesses. So just wanted to say
I love that idea. I mean, look, we're the world leader in life sciences, right? And the industry started in Cambridge. We've been really trying to broaden the footprint of life sciences all across Massachusetts, principally through manufacturing opportunities as far as Lee, Massachusetts, way over the western part of the state. But locally, we've got locally, but in this region, you know, Gloucester Marine Genomics up in Gloucester, we have North Shore Interventures and Beverly. But it's our hope that life sciences is a true statewide opportunity. So I agree with that. We're gonna have to wrap. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
I also, this is something that I have advocated for a lot. We sit at these tables is our creative workforce was a little bit left in the dust when it came to the pandemic. Most of them were 1099 workers. They couldn't apply for unemployment. They had to create this whole new gig worker system to be able to employ our artists. If we look back at the original New Deal, there was that whole piece in there that when we came back to, when we revitalized the economy and we put that effort in, we put artists to work. Artists tend to be left to look at nonprofits and beg for grants and things of that nature. But if you have like a pottery business, where's your support there? Where's your support as a mural artist? How are you going to get by if there's no money for the extras? And I'd love to see more partnerships like the outdoor dining with the painted barriers, things of that nature where the cities are invited or taught how to work with their local creative community, because our artists are really the heart and soul. You're always going to go to a jazz show. You're always going to go and see someone painting outside and stop and say hi. They're really the heart of the community that is that piece of community engagement that sometimes otherwise is really difficult to get. So to make sure that they have a seat at the table, to make sure that they are able to have that support that a regular, you know, insurance agent would have through their different programming
Yeah,
and through
yeah,
these
yeah,
programs.
that's a good point. It's a really good point.
We've got one more. I'm going to hear from you.
Oh. So I'm actually, I have a few thoughts here and everyone out. I am a home-based business, and there's a social media home-based community online, and throughout this whole pandemic year, we've been sharing all of our stories, supporting each other one way or another through social media, and it's been such great exposure to all of us. But what I see in that unstructured the right way, I don't know how to say it. They're always coming to questions with how can I go about doing this, how I need a bookkeeper, I need an accountant, and it's been a struggle myself trying to keep up with that and finding more resources that allow us to start from ground up would be amazing. As well as what we've been doing is finding local spaces where we can all gather together and host events where our community shows up and shows support. But finding a way to find more spaces around the city.
I think one of the things a lot of the grant programs do not really look at home-based businesses, and something that obviously is a way to cut down on expenses, but then obviously that's not downtown, so a lot of the grant programs are not to hit the home-based businesses. So something
Secretary, you need to go to Salem.
I need to go to Salem. You want to say a few words, Representative?
Sure, thank you, thanks. I'll be brief here. This is great to see. I mean, I was on the city council 15 years ago for the first time. We started a lot of these projects. Jim was actually council president at the time and became EDIC director. So when day to day, as we have such a great partnership here, but day to day you may not see the changes. But over time, if you look back from where we've come from before to where we are right now, and then hearing these ideas right now, where we may be in the future, really gives us a lot of hope. I grew up in Lynn, I was born and raised in Lynn, and I want to see a vitalized downtown, when we talk about improvements in rapid transit, improvements in housing, and all these different ideas for businesses of the 21st century, I guess you'd call it. It's just really good for me to see. It makes me feel good, makes me feel like some of the work we've done together is worth it. So thank you for coming. Thank you for putting the group together, and it's nice to see everybody. We don't see each other as often as we used to do.
Anything else? I mean, thank you for hosting us.
Our pleasure. I just want to let everybody know there's some refreshments here, some coffee. If you want to lounge around, you're perfectly happy. We're perfectly happy to keep you here for a bit, and thanks again for coming down.
Thank you so much.
It's important to see the support.
How's business, Joe?
Business is good. One thing, just to piggyback on what was said earlier, and if we could get some more bodies in downtown Lynn. This place was ready to open about more than a year ago. We put it off because of the pandemic. Put it off, and then eventually in April we bit the bullet and opened. And we opened only for dinner because we don't see the traffic during lunch. So we're not open for lunch, and that coupled with the shortage of employees, being able to attract employees has been incredibly difficult. We opened with a staff, mostly family and a couple of support employees, and we have not been able to hire anybody else since then. So that's an incredible challenge, which we hope goes away soon in September when some of these benefits dry up. But it's an obvious point, but the more bodies in downtown Lynn, however we get them here, whether it's through biotech, through other industries, it'd be a huge benefit to everybody.
You have a hard-working family, so.
Yeah.
Sonia, Joe's daughter, is here getting married next week.
Everybody, this is how we get things done, right? The state, the city, our business leaders, nonprofit leaders, everyone coming together to get important things done. So it's wonderful to see everybody. Thank you so much for bringing us together here. Mayor, thank you. Been a great visit to Lynn as always. Great to see you in person. Representative, thank you. Thanks everybody.
All right, thank you.